And welcome back, and it is the 21st of April, higher plus 5 a day, and let's just jump straight in. Okay, show that the equation. Now this feels like a couple of days ago, so I think we're going to have a show that, a rearrange, and an iteration. Right, so the first three questions today, if you know how to do this, it's pretty straightforward. If you don't, please do just do it a few times, learn it, because it's going to be marks in the exam, and frankly, it's relatively easy marks because you're just doing a thing, even if you don't fully understand what you're doing. Nevertheless, my job here is to try and help you understand that. So the first step is I'm going to rearrange the equation. So I'll get x cubed plus 6x. If I take away the 25, then it must be equal to 0. So in other words, I've rearranged that. And I'm going to call this f of x. I'm going to say let f of x equal x cubed plus 6x minus 25. I'm making it clear what I'm doing. Then I'm going to work out the equation at those 2 points. So f of 2 and f of 3. Well, f of 2 is 2 cubed, which is 8, plus 6 times 2, which is 12, minus 25. So that's 20 minus 25, which is minus 5. And f of 3 is 3 cubed, which is 27, plus 6 times 3, which is 18, minus 25. Well, that's going to give me 20. So to be clear, because I haven't made that very clear, the first one is minus 5 and the second one is 20. Then you need to make a statement that says 2 points. So point 1, you need to say there is a change in sign. So literally there is a change in sign, and then you need to say that the function f of x is continuous. In other words, there is no breaks, there is no jumps, there's nothing happening in between, and so therefore there is a solution. And if there's an A level, we say in the interval, but here we can just say between 2 and 3. So between 2 and 3. Excellent. Like I said, it's a bit sort of learn the method, do the method, but equally, like I say, fairly straightforward marks. Now, the second part of the question is almost always to rearrange to give something. So I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to look at this, and before I write anything else, think about which x I'm leaving. Well, because it's a cube, I'm going to leave this on the left-hand side, move everything over, and then do the cube root. So let's write this out. So x cubed plus 6x equals 25. I'm going to move the 6x over, so 25 minus 6x, and I can see it forming already, which means that x is equal to the cube root of 25 minus 6x, and I've shown that to be true. Not too bad. Then the next part, again, pretty typical. So I'm going to, on my calculator, I can find where I put it, there it is. On my calculator, I'm going to type 0 and equals, and kind of put 0 in the memory. And then I'm going to put the formula in. So I want the cube root of 25 minus 6 times answer. Press equals. And the first one I get, so x0 equals 0, x1 is equal to 2.99, 2.9240. Now if you set it up correctly, you can press equals again, and you get that x2 is equal to 1.953589. So let's write some of that down. Actually, which one do I want? Use it 3 times. So I want x3. So I'm not too worried about giving all the numbers here, but they are on my calculator, so they will be used. And so x3, which is the one that I care about, is 2.368005. Now it doesn't tell me how many decimal places or significant figures to use, so I'm just going to write down a few, just to make sure that it's clear that I've copied the calculator. That's it, question done. 2 more questions today. Shown is a sector OAB. There's a sector, O is a centre, AB is a chord. Find the area of the sector. Now, in order to find out the area, I'm going to need the angle. And what I can do is I can use cosine rule, can't I? Because I've got a triangle here. I know that's 9 because it's a radius as well. So therefore, using the cosine rule, now hopefully you know this one, but I can say that theta equals cos minus 1, so I just know the rearranged version, of 9 squared plus 9 squared minus 10.35 squared. So I've rearranged b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. And all that is divided by 2 times 9 times 9. And that's going to give me theta, which is, well, my calculator says 70.1992643 degrees. But I think just a couple of decimal places is fine here. So 70 point, well, let's do 199 because it sort of rounds off quite nicely. Okay, remember I haven't finished yet. All I've done is find theta. So I need to find out the area of the sector. Well, the area of the sector is going to be 70.199 divided by 360 times pi r, where I know r is 9, so I'm just going to write the 9 in here, 9 squared. Why? Because it's a fraction of the circle, and the fraction I want is 70, or 70.199, 368ths of the circle. So that's why the fraction's there, and this is just the area of the circle. Put all that in my calculator, and I get 49.6209, etc. And I'm just going to call that 49.6 centimeters squared to 3 sig fig. Now, if it doesn't say 3 sig fig is almost always the right sort of rounding to do. Obviously, if it does say do something specific, then do the specific thing. Next and final question today. The graph of y equals x squared plus 9x minus 10 has a line of symmetry. Write down. Now, write down is maths code for not a lot of maths required. If you've done differentiation, you can differentiate. Most of you probably won't have done, so therefore I'm going to complete the square. So therefore y equals x plus 9 over 2 squared. Let's get rid of that floating thing there. Plus 9 over 2 squared minus something. And I don't care about the something, because all I care about is the number that makes that equal to 0. And the number that does that is the number minus 9 over 2. And that will be my line of symmetry. In other words, the line of symmetry is where the vertex of the parabola is. Nice easy end today. Well, also easy if you know what you're doing. Again, do make sure you're okay with that iteration. Relatively straightforward marks in the exam. A good reversed angle question with the sector, and a nice little do you understand what completing the square does at the end. Like, subscribe, let me know how it went for you, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.